I needed someone in the grime scene to have mentioned it. Like if Dizzy Rascal came to my school, if Kano came to my school, or if Stormzy came to my school, like it would have been different. I would have said, oh, okay, cool, like, because I identify with them.
Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another episode of Mental Roots, the Mental Roots podcast. And yep, this is me, Nathan Day, just keeping it real as black men about our experiences with mental health, navigating life, growing up, and how that affects our mentality and our perspective and our mindset and all sorts of very intimate, down-to-earth stuff like that. Because there's not enough of this in the media, you know. We need more edifying spaces where we can just share our vulnerable sides and really help each other heal from the trauma that we've experienced. But yeah, that sounds very weighty stuff. But I want this podcast to also be a safe space where we can also have a laugh, you know. We can also just express ourselves, and you don't always have to be in a space of resolve in order to have a voice on this podcast. You don't have to be an influencer or someone with a large following to be a guest on this podcast. And some of you will know that already because you've heard some of the other episodes from season 1 and season 2. You know, we keep it diverse here, so I just have a chat with other, you know, young black friends of mine. And then sometimes I might have the odd influencer come on here as well, and the odd, you know, mental health practitioner or coach or therapist. And I want to have more specialists on this podcast as well. But if you feel that you have a story that needs to be shared in regards to navigating mental health growing up as a young black person, especially if you're a black man, then of course you can reach out to us at mentalrootspod@gmail.com, or you can reach Mental Roots Pod on either Twitter or Instagram. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, you'll see the social media tags just above me here, or if you're listening on any podcast platform, you'll see it. You see a link to the socials in the written description for the episode. So this time round and this time onwards, I'm just going to pop the link tree in. Instead of me dropping loads of links, you just have the link tree to all the other podcast outlets and all the other social media outlets and email as well. So everything is in the link tree now. And then there should be other links, other affiliate links as well, Amazon affiliate links to the products that I have. So whether it's the mic I've got right now or the audio interface. If you're also a content creator, I thoroughly recommend you use those links to buy. Any orders made through those links will give me a small commission, which I'm going to feed back into the podcast, back into marketing, and God willing, maybe even paying people to intern as editors or social media marketers for Mental Roots. So we're trying to build this thing, but if there's anything I've learned recently, it's just to celebrate where you are. And yeah, thank you to all the people who've reached out to me recently, whether it's through Instagram or phone call or voice messages, just encouraging me, saying that you've enjoyed the content. Thanks to all of those who watched and listened to episode 17 last week, which is part 3 of my chat with Shocka. And today, obviously, this episode is the last part 4. It's been a long one, but it's been definitely by far one of the most enjoyable, edifying and empowering conversations I've had on this podcast with one of the most influential guests I've had on here. So just for those of you who are not aware, Kenneth just this past week had tragically lost his mum. To be fair, she was fighting a long battle with cancer, and she has lived longer than doctors originally said that she would, so there's at least that to be grateful for. But she peacefully passed away in her late 50s, and The good thing, I literally just came off the phone with Kenneth, and I know Kenneth won't mind me sharing this because he's such a down-to-earth, transparent guy. But yeah, I just got off the phone with him before recording this, and I thank God that, you know, he's already in a positive space mentally. Of course, it still hurts, he's still grieving, but he knows and has a deep sense that there's a deeper meaning behind this. And if you've been listening to any of the past parts of our conversation, you know that's a common theme that we talk about in our chat. It's just the importance of gratitude, resilience, how hard times can build our resilience and build our character. And the more you allow hard times to build your character, the more strength you have to be a pioneer and a positive role model in society, which Shocka is, you know, and in many ways he is a pioneer. There's no other artist I can think of who makes the sort of music he does, in terms of really talking about, especially in the space of British rap or just rap music in general, very transparent about his mental struggles, very transparent about different things he's seeing in society, whether it's delving into religious questions on faith, or whether it's delving into single mothers. You know, that's been a theme that's run throughout his independent music, after all his days being in the rap group Marvel. So yeah, this final part, I know this is another long intro. I thought I wouldn't get past 6 minutes ever again, but lo and behold, here I am. But anyway, this is my podcast, so I could talk for however long I want. But yeah, I won't spend too much longer on this. Really, this last part of our conversation is just kind of talking about moving forward. Really, we kind of start off this part talking about Shocka's upcoming new album. So news alert, you're gonna probably get some world exclusive information on what music and creativity he has coming up next. And so yeah, he obviously, bear in mind, we had this conversation in October of last year, and a few things have changed since then. He's still finalizing a few things about the album, but literally from the phone call I just had with him before recording this, he as inspired by the news of his mom's passing, he's gonna switch things up with the music, so expect some more news on that later on. I'm gonna let him break the news, not me, but it's inspired a slightly new turn of direction, creatively, as it happens when, you know, things happen in your life. You know, as artists, we express what's happening in our lives. So but yeah, enough of that. So we delve a little bit into his new album in this final part, and some other stuff as well, to neatly round up this epic conversation we've had on his journey, being section, navigating trauma, navigating self-acceptance, and yeah, just really looking to the future in terms of what we want to do in culture, especially in black culture, you know, just to help really destigmatize mental health, and really make edifying content cool again. So yeah, let's get into it. Final part of our chat. Before we do that, of course, remember to like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, comment specifically what you relate to in this episode or any other parts of our conversation, and of course share this, man. You don't know which one of your friends or family might be struggling with this sort of stuff, so if you could share, that would be great. And obviously on all podcast platforms, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you answer the poll on Spotify. I'm trying to make this interactive as well. And yeah, let's get into it. Part 4. Let's go.
Bro, should I tell you what flipping blows my mind, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Is the fact that the time we're in now is so mental health driven. And like, bro, my emails, like someone's always asking for me. We need you to do it. And it makes you think, oh my God, so I got section for them to prepare me for now. I didn't, bro, if I knew that in 2021, 22, whatever, it's going to be like mental health driven and everyone's going to be trying to tackle this, bro, I would have had my feet up in there. I would have had my feet up in the bed saying, you lot don't even know, like, that I'm here because I'm going to use these experiences in the next 5 years and I'm going to do a TED talk. And I would have had my feet up. I would have been smiling, laughing. Do you know what I mean? I would have said, give me an extra 2 weeks because that's going to make it sound even more better. But I would have had my feet up. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you just never know what the experience is for. You have no idea. So you might as well just shut your mouth and just wait, bro. Just relax, bro. Which is hard to do. I'm making it sound easy now. But it's like my mum now with this whole cancer thing. Do you get me? I'm going through this phase again. I'm like, why now? Why? Is she going to get to see her grandkids? Like, she's not going to see my child? Do you know what I mean? Like, why? Like, I don't know, but we could have this conversation in 10 years and like, I could be like, I don't know what the fate is, but like, do you know what I mean? It's going to make sense. So like, sometimes you got to give it time, bro.
For real. I appreciate that. Just to wrap up the conversation, let's talk about your current focus now. So you're being booked for all sorts of things now, obviously documentaries, speaking engagements. Have you done some stuff in schools as well? Have you been invited to schools?
I'm speaking in a school on Friday. Funny you mentioned that.
Wow. Look at God.
Yeah, I'm speaking at an assembly. Yeah, that's crazy.
Amazing. And that's good because again, we could have a whole other conversation on this, mental health awareness in schools. I'm sure you can agree that if you had anywhere near some form of mental awareness education at school, your life could have been very different, especially, growing up
Definitely.
in an incomplete home. Not to take away from what your mum did, but like,
Yeah. No, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, yeah,
but
man.
Also,
like,
the information about mental health would have had to come from someone like me for it to resonate. Does that make sense? It would have to be like the man there. That's why I understand why it's so important.
Yeah.
Because if someone had just come in and said, yeah, I would have thought, who are you, bro? It would have to be someone like, that's why I needed someone in the grime scene to have mentioned it. Like if Dizzy Rascal came to my school, or if Kano came to my school, or if Stormzy came to my school, like it would have been different. I would have said, oh, okay, cool. Like, because I identify with them. Like I see myself in them. So
yeah,
it would have been, yeah.
Have you been in schools before? Have you been invited to them? Or this is the
I've
first
done a
one
few things.
Oh, okay.
This is the first assembly I've done, I think, but I've done a few things. Like, yeah, I've done a few things.
Yeah, it would be nice to hear how the assembly goes, man. And yeah, just
I'm gonna film it. I'm documenting everything.
Perfect, man. Perfect. Yeah, man. Because that's what we need, man. We need kids, especially kids who look like us. They need to see role models. They need to see people like yourself who, like you come from where they come from, and you're not pretending to have all the answers either. It's not like you're being condescending and being like, here's what you should do, but you're being honest about not only the mistakes you made, but also I'm sure you plan to talk about the journey you're still on, right? So
yeah, definitely. And Kendrick, I got to give it to Kendrick and J. Cole for teaching me that. Because they was the first people that made being human cool to me. I never thought being human was cool. I wanted to be everything but human. I wanted to be a superhero. I wanted to be an extraterrestrial. I wanted to be everything but human. They made being human cool. Like Kendrick calls his music human music. I was like, ooh. And then when he made Good Kid, Mad City and he's talking about someone put cocaine in his weed.
Bringing the gospel in there as well, like spirituality.
And bringing the gospel in there and spirituality. I was like,
not that that's new to hip hop.
I've got that in me.
Not that that's new to hip hop, but I felt like in that generation when there was a lot more trap music coming out, it had more of an impact in that kind of era, if that made sense.
Definitely. And I was like, why ain't no one doing it over here? And then I looked in the mirror and said, oh, maybe it's because you need to set pace. know what I mean? You're busy waiting for someone, and then when they do it, you're going to be pissed off and be like, that's meant to be me. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I got to thank Kendrick and Coleman. I always mention them in every single interview, like, because they played a major part.
Awesome. Last talking point, the music, right? You're working on new music.
Yeah.
I'd say musically, in terms of the impact you want to make, not only raising awareness on mental health, but also many other positive messages you want to put in your music as well. What's the vision going forward? Because with this new one, I mean, do people already know the name of the new album, or can we can we say that yet?
Vulnerability is the new cool.
Vulnerability is the new cool. So that's the new project coming out. So hopefully we get some exclusive info on that. But yeah, I think a short while ago on Instagram, you posted like the recording session. So you've already kind of shown little previews of some of the songs on there. Do you want to talk about, maybe you can be as specific as you want, but talk about the songs on there. If there's a new direction you're trying to take things, what is that new direction? And yeah, just kind of talk through what's in your mind for this new project.
So the album is called Vulnerability is the New Cool. How I came up with that album title, I was doing an Insta Live, like what I'm doing with you now. This is a Zoom, but it's basically like the same thing. And she was telling me the stats of black males that commit suicide and get sectioned. And when she was telling me the stats, I was like, bruv, how can I use my talent to decrease that number just by 1%? Even if it's by 1%, my job's done. Do you know what I mean? How can I use my talent? And then I started exploring like what helped me. Like, why didn't I, like, what helped me? And I realized, okay, vulnerability is a major part. Being able to like express myself as open as possible in my music, it allows me to sleep at night because I know like Nathan knows everything. Everything's in my music. It's there. Do you know what I mean? My mom's cancer, my addictions, my relationships, like everything's there. So I have nothing to hide. Do you know what I mean? And what I do have to hide, eventually I'll be vulnerable enough to get that out somehow. So like, and then I realized, okay, cool, vulnerability is the answer. But then there's another side. We have to be open and receptive enough to allow people to be vulnerable. So there's two sides to it. There's the person being able to be vulnerable, and then us on the receiving end being able to allow someone to be vulnerable. And how do you allow someone to be vulnerable? By you being vulnerable too. So it's like, it's a flow. You know what I mean? You're open and they're open, and like, that's how it flows. And I was like, what's the best way for me to start that? Let me start with my life then. Let me make my life the example. So I made a whole album with all my most vulnerable moments. I've got a song called I Cry Sometimes. And that song is just about me. It's two things. It's about me accepting that I don't cry enough as a man because of my belief systems or whatever's blocking me. And then me also making that song to celebrate the people that do cry a lot as men. I got a friend that cries a lot. He's a man over anything. And I know he must probably feel like a pussy, quote unquote, in society, but he doesn't understand like only real men is that open to be able to let their tears fly like that. And it's something that it's gonna benefit him later on in the future. He's not gonna realize. Now it looks like something that's like shunned upon, but later on it's gonna benefit him. I've got a song in there called Fighting My Vices, where I speak about porn addictions, which is like a common thing amongst men. We all hide and we all push it, sweep it under the carpet. But most men around the country, at all ages as well, I'm not talking, apart from ages like 4, 3, 2, but anything above 15 to 60 can relate to that song. I've got a song in there called Don't Touch Me. It's about like girls that's been raped before. In my lifetime, I've managed to meet at least 6 girls that's come into my world that's been raped. So I felt like it's a song that God wanted me to speak about. Some people never meet these victims, so they don't know how serious it is. And you can't touch on a subject until you've been through it yourself really anyway, to get the real connection to want to speak about it. My 2 exes have been through it. Like, it's just something that it's a theme that that's come into my world. So I've got a song in there. There's so much beautiful songs in there. I've got a song called Mr. Jealousy. And the song's about my relationship with jealousy. And I don't think I've heard anyone speak about jealousy like that before. I talk about my jealous moments, me being jealous of one of my good friends. We both got sectioned together. And he was doing really well. He's come out and he's doing really well and he's changed his life. And at that time, I was envious and we went through an experience. Like, there's so much. And then the second verse, I talk about why you shouldn't be jealous, because any good thing you see in someone else is in you. That's why you saw it in the first place. You can't see something that's not in you. So for you to admire something in someone, you're admiring what's in you, but you're just not exhibiting it. They're showing you. So I mean, so like I give them both sides of it. But there's amazing songs in there, bro. It's a beautiful project. And the goal for that project is global. I need that project to be, not even I need that project, God willing, it will be a worldwide project, because there's humans all around the world that needs to hear it. It's not like what Kendrick said about human music. I feel like I fall under that branch. I make human music too. That's probably why he's my favorite artist. And I feel like there's humans all over the world that need to hear that project.
For sure. And
the impact over numbers was different because it's like niche. The whole concept was like only for a particular set of people that want to make an impact and don't care about numbers. And this is for us. This is to keep us going. But vulnerability is the new cool. Is like, that's for the world.
Yeah,
that's for the world. I'm trying to change the game with that one.
Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Before we continue, I just want to share with you something very briefly, something that's really been helping me with my concentration and productivity with all the work I've been doing, finishing uni, finishing the first 2 Mental Roots short films, which I can't wait to share with you. All of that stuff, in addition to the podcast, needs some high level concentration and motivation, especially during a pandemic. So if you're a busy guy like me, you've got loads of things going on and you want something that can boost your productivity, I highly recommend some natural caffeine energy shots that I've been using, which you can mix with tea or water or whatever you want. It's got a nice rich raspberry flavor packed with vitamins and really good natural caffeine, which doesn't give you the crash and high calories like a lot of high caffeine drinks that are commercially sold. So if you want to order those shots for yourself and see how they can help you, then check out the link in the written description for this episode on whatever platform you're watching or listening on. And if you want to let me know personally how they help you when you do order them and try them for yourself, then message me at my personal Instagram page, which is at Nath_a day. So if you're watching on YouTube, it is right here on the screen. You can see it for yourself. But if you're just listening on a podcast platform, it is at NATH_ADDAI. Message me there to find out more about that product and any other products that I've been using, because I've been using other products as well as different workout techniques and things to help improve my physical health, which in turn improves my mental health. So thanks for listening. Let's get back into the episode. Enjoy. Yeah, man. It sounds like it as well, because I remember quite a few months back you shared kind of the drafts of the songs that you had at the time. I don't know how much it's changed.
Yeah, you've heard it. What's your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I think the funny thing about knowing you is that the first time I met you, I should have said this at the start of the interview, but the first time I met you was probably when Inside Out were doing one of their focus groups for black men, which I'm still part of, by the way. It'll be nice to see you there again. But yeah, man, I think that's where I first heard you, and then we exchanged Instagram details, and then that's how I heard of you. So I had no idea about the whole life you had in music. Like, I met you through the conversation on mental health. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at your music. I'm looking at all the like Fire in the Booths and all these different things you've done. I'm like, how did I miss this guy? I thought I was in tune with British rap music, but clearly I missed something. So, and then I started hearing your stuff. I think when I heard Vulnerability is the New Cool, when I heard that draft anyway, that might have ironically been the first project I heard from you. I know that sounds a bit backwards, but yeah, I think either it was the first music I heard, or I'd heard some songs, but I hadn't fully delved into the albums before listening to Vulnerability is the New Cool. So I kind of had to work backwards in to see your progression. And I could see, like, Vulnerability is the New Cool. There's a lot more subject matter, I feel. Like, I think the projects before still had a relatively wide range of topics, but I felt like with this one, it was even more deep. It was even more diverse. It was, and musically, I think I preferred it as well. So it sounds like musically you're evolving and you're growing, which
Mm,
is the goal at the end of the day, you know.
yeah.
So I feel like the
Yeah,
album is
definitely.
great. I feel um obviously it'll be interesting to see how it's grown since then. Do you remember the
Yeah,
draft
it's
that you
changed a
sent
lot.
me?
Yeah.
I
No, I
remember
don't.
I remember it had some skits on there, and then you had I think
No, no, they're
generation.
gone. They're gone.
Oh, okay. And then there was the that generational trauma song as well. I know you had some like constructive thoughts on that as well,
That's
on how
there.
you, yeah,
That's still there.
yeah. Oh, that song's still there.
Hmm.
Oh, cool, cool, cool. Because I think that was one of my favorites, ironically. So, I was like, yeah, please keep that
Yeah,
one.
generational trauma is there.
Generation, yeah, I like that. So,
Yeah.
I think I cry sometimes. I'm excited for when people hear that because that sounds like a single to me. I'm assuming you're gonna turn that
Yeah.
into.
I remember you messaging me about that one.
Yeah, yeah. So, great album, man, and I'd say keep. I mean, when are you thinking about when you're gonna release it, or you're still a work in progress, taking your time with it?
I wanted to release it this year, but after the album that Little Sims just released, I mean, bruv, give
He
her the
raised the
year.
standard,
Let her
bro.
take everything. Let her take all the accolades. I think
Yeah,
I'm just gonna come through like next year, early next year,
yeah,
and then yeah, man, the rest is in God's hands.
yeah. And even that album as well. Again, like the topic she touches on as well, bringing in her African heritage. You hear some songs where
Yeah,
it's not even like the poppy Afro beats. It's like traditional like Afro beats. You know the
yeah.
and
Fella Kuti Afrobeats. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and then obviously the orchestra, the just the whole theatrical way she's done it is amazing. And again, people like Little
yeah,
Sims and other Black British creatives we've got coming up, who are raising the standards of how we tell our stories as Black British people. So it's wonderful to see. And
hmm,
again, you can see she's had a global impact with that album. A lot of new people globally have heard of Little
yes,
Sims through that
yes.
project.
And that's the same goal. That's the same goal that I want.
Yeah.
I want the whole world to be introduced to me. The same way you was like, where's this guy been? How come I never heard of him?
Mm.
I want that to be happening around the world. Ghana, Nigeria, Brazil. I want it to be like, bro, where like just a breath of fresh air. I just want it to be a breath of fresh air, like especially from a UK act, which would be new as well. That would be pioneering again
Mm.
because the world is just getting introduced to our music. So
Yeah.
I want to be the first rapper that I want to be the first rapper that Americans actually feel. I know we've had a few that's gone over there now, like Gigs is killing it,
Mm.
Dave's doing shows over there, Stormzy. But I want to be the first one where they're like, yo, I felt this shit. Like, do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like a first one where they proper feel. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I'd say you're at least in that generation because I feel like I like watching music reactions quite a lot on YouTube. So I feel like
Same.
people are really connecting with obviously Stormzy on a popularity level. He's got his appeal overseas, but in terms of
Mm-hmm.
Dave's music in particular, like he goes into a lot of lyrical detail about some deep
Yeah,
issues, but it's interesting
definitely.
to see how many American reactors relate to the same things as well. Although Dave, of course, is
Yeah,
unapologetically British. So I feel like that's already starting to happen, but for sure, I'd say I'd hope to see like this is a pioneering moment in our current generation of rap music in Britain. So I'd say,
yeah,
yeah, definitely I can see you being part of that conversation as well. Um, and I'd say the unique thing your music would bring is um, it's more universal. Like there is an essence of black pride in your music, but it's not the central thing at all. It's very like we are all
yeah,
going through this, and I
yeah,
think again, it's just your audience will be very broad because um, the rap heads necessarily won't be like an exclusive rap head thing. Like, oh, I caught those bars, and it's
yeah,
very like you're you're not
yeah,
too
yeah.
yeah, like I've already said this already, but the references you make in your music aren't too specific to the black community, which is good. Like it's
I've
universal.
always
Everyone can
been,
understand it. You know? So
yeah, definitely. I've always been universal in my approach. Even how I
mm,
speak, I rarely use slang. You might hear one or
mm,
two, but I don't really. I mean, I've always been my whole approach is like universal. So I feel like it's just a matter of time till it happens. Like
mm,
self love was my first taste of it. When Snoop Dogg posted it, I was getting messages from China. Someone messaged me from China saying they don't have Spotify over here, so can I email them the song? I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was getting messages from like that was my first taste of like, wow, I
mm,
can go global. Like, this is my song. I'm singing in an English accent and they love it.
mm,
And then, yeah, so that was my first taste. So this should be like my second attempt.
yeah. And we were saying before we pressed record, like the artwork. Do you want to just explain the artwork you have in mind
Yes,
for
the
one of the
artwork,
EP?
Nathan, that you're looking at was meant to do my artwork. Like it was sealed in stone. Like, I don't know, we'll probably do something in the future. Like, same way
Oh,
with
for
this
sure. Yeah,
interview,
yeah,
was
yeah,
meant to do it, and then we finally did it. That's the same way with the artwork. He was meant to do the prelim one, something happened, then the album
yeah,
one, but we'll get the right one that we're meant to do. But yeah, my
yeah.
artwork, yeah, I don't want to spoil it. I was just about to give it away, but they'll have to
Fair
wait
enough.
for it. But
Fair
yeah,
enough.
it's I'll show it to you after this anyway.
Calm, calm. Okay.
It's
So
simple,
the right.
simple artwork. It's not mind blowing. It's not
Mm,
mind blowing, but like because you know the story, like it will make sense when you see it.
yeah, yeah. I look forward to seeing it as well. But yeah, man, I think we can end the conversation there. I mean, closing thoughts, just quick closing thoughts that you want to send to the listeners. Of course, most of our audience is black, but I'm getting messages from different types of people saying, Nathan, you're there's loads of transferable things that I relate to as this kind of person or that kind of person. So there are still a wide range of people listening, but a lot of them are young black people. So yeah, just drop some gems, just closing thoughts, words of wisdom.
Um, my closing thoughts is something basic, as I am putting stuff
Mm,
in the most basic way as possible. But my closing thoughts is like information changes situations. Everything you need is out there now. There's
mm,
no excuses. If you want to fix a kitchen cabinet, you can go on YouTube tutorial and he'll show you exactly how to do it. If you want to know about schizophrenia, my journey is there now. If you want to know about manic depression, my journey is there now. If you want to know how to get out of it, there's other like everything you need is there now. There's no excuse. Just go and do it.
yeah,
If you want to like I was watching LMA, yeah. As I said, I've been studying pioneers, and LMA is like
yeah,
one of the first person singer, like R&B singer, to chart in
yeah,
America. And I've been binge watching all her journey, how Mustard found her. Bro, she got signed in the era where Instagram videos was 15 seconds long. You know how we got 1 minute now?
mm,
She had 15
seconds.
seconds and she got picked up. So, like, bruv, that's my advice to you. If you really are the real deal and you really are as good as you think you are, trust me, just put your content out there and the right person will find you. I
Mm,
promise you. I promise you, bro. I did a freestyle, random freestyle. The quality wasn't even that good. And Tony Bellew posted it on his I don't know if you saw that.
no, I didn't.
Yeah, bro. Tony Bellew followed me and posted on his Instagram. How he saw it, I don't have a fucking clue. But it just shows like we're in an era where like you really can get in front of Beyonce's eyes if your content is that good. So
Mm,
that's my advice to you. And the second thing I want to end this thing on is my journey continues. I don't know what's next. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm excited for the ride. And yeah, man, just keep following and just keep watching this epic journey.
yeah,
And
man.
yeah, Nath, I see you again, bro. Album time. We're gonna speak.
Calm, calm. Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited for this partnership, man, and what else we can do together to help move things forward for people. So,
Yeah, definitely.
thanks for your time. This is definitely the longest interview I've had on Mental Roots so far, but it's all good, man. Great content. It's
Yeah,
probably
definitely.
be 3 or 4 episodes, which is great. It will keep people on their toes.
So
If you want to hear the next part,
definitely.
tune in next week. But man, yeah, thank you. I feel like a lot of people, even a few years from now, it might sound a bit wild to say, but like I feel like I'll be playing this to people in a few years' time, and they'll be like, "Wow, thanks." So this is one for the
Yes.
history book.
Amen. God willing.
Amen, amen.
Definitely, bro. This is for the history
Oh,
books. Trust
for
me.
sure. Whew. Powerful conversation with Shocka, aka Kenneth. I keep saying Shocka, but I need to call him Kenneth, man, because hopefully through this 4-part series, you've seen the real layers of who Kenneth is, man. Just navigating life and going through what he's been through. And now on top of that, of course, losing his mum. Even the term losing is a bit, it doesn't summarize the totality of the situation. It's actually, there's still hope, because I was even having a chat with him earlier today, as of the time I'm recording this, and just talking about his mum's strong faith in Jesus, and so we believe, based on that we know she's in a better place, because she's put her trust in Jesus, so, and I believe, as obviously it's no secret that I am a strong believer in the Lord, and I've made that very clear in a lot of the episodes in this podcast. I do think there is a lot to say about the power of faith and spirituality in the black community, and how even historically as black people, our strong spiritual roots have always given us a sense of grounding in hard times, and has been a huge thing that have definitely helped our parents and the generations before us navigate mental health through strengthening their spiritual health, but of course that's a deeper conversation for another day. If you want to hear more on how I marry my Christian faith with my ideas of masculinity and black masculinity, if you want to know more about that, then check out series 1 episodes 9 to 11, and that's a 3-part series of my conversation with R.T. Hines and Paul Kazadi, aka Paul the Messenger. That's his musician name. Both 2 strong Christian friends of mine, friends that I made during COVID, of course, and yeah, I thoroughly recommend check that out. But yeah, that's a different tangent. Back to this episode. Shocka, if you're listening to this, thank you once again for being as approachable as you've always been, and just open to share not only what's happened in your past, but as this episode shows, like your plans for the future with your music. And speaking of future plans, guys, if you haven't followed Shocka already, what are you doing? You need to go and follow this guy on Instagram. He's on Twitter as well, but I think he's mainly active on Instagram. Shocka_artist. So that's SHOCKA_artist. And go and catch the updates on his new album, Vulnerability is the New Cool, which is obviously the title of this episode as well. And of course, if you haven't done so already, like this episode on YouTube, and if you're on a podcast platform, please leave a rating. I believe on Spotify you can leave ratings now for Spotify podcasts, so do that. And of course you can leave ratings on Apple Podcast as well, and even write a review on Apple Podcasts, so do that as well. And of course on YouTube, comment in the comment section what you liked about not just this particular episode, but any part of my chat with Shocka. So yeah, once again, I am so thankful to all the people who've been showing love. As of the time I'm recording this, part 3 of my chat with Shocka has been the episode with the most engagement, or at least the fastest growing engagement. And I've had some people message me about how inspiring that is, and yeah, so I just want more interaction like that. I love it. It's good. Let's keep it up, family. And of course, you can contact us, Mental Roots Pod, at Instagram and Twitter, or you can email us at mentalrootspod@gmail.com. Shout out to the Mental Roots team. You guys know who you are. Ryan, who else? Jennifer as well. Jennifer's the day one helper with the admin and the emails. And then shout out to Tyler as well, someone who's still, as of the time I'm recording this, testing out different software, discussing ways we can move forward with software compatibility when it comes to editing and all of that stuff. But if you also, listeners, any of you, especially those of you who are black men as well, this is not exclusive to this, but especially if you're a black man, it would be great if you could help out in the Mental Roots team and volunteer. I know we're all busy adults, we've all got our own things going on, but if you feel deeply connected to what this Mental Roots brand represents, again, email us, let us know how you want to contribute, whether it's video editing, whether it's social media, co-hosting even, or on the film side of Mental Roots, maybe helping out with drafting ideas for the next Mental Roots animation. And by the way, if you're new to the podcast and you don't know the background info on Mental Roots, there's the link tree in the written description. Check that out, and you can watch the first Mental Roots animated film that's been out for a couple of months now, through the BBC no less. So again, if you've heard earlier episodes in the earlier season as well, you'll know that the film set this whole thing in motion. There would not be this podcast without me working on the animated film first. So go check that out. And yeah, man, thanks. Next week is the start of our final interview of season 2, and this one was wonderful. This one has more Caucasian males, so bringing some whiteness to the podcast is nice. All jokes aside though, like, these guys that I interviewed are 2/3 of a trio called the A Game Consultancy, a trio of great coaches who help people with their mindset, and so they're also very passionate about mental health and physical health and just living a well-rounded life that can help you, and so they share their stories as men in general, which I'm sure a lot of us black guys and guys of other ethnicities can still relate to. As men, we all still have common struggles when it comes to identity, nutrition, self-love, all of these things. So that I'm so excited for you guys to hear this next interview. It's going to be very informative because these are experts who know their stuff. They've worked with clients, so they really do know what they're talking about. But they're also very transparent and very real and genuine, and you'll see in their content as well when you follow them on Instagram and YouTube that they have a sense of humor and a sense of a sense of likability to them, and I think that's what we need when it comes to mental health advocates. It's not always serious all the time, it's not always cold, it's not always clinical. This is a very personal topic, so we need advocates who are relatable, who are honest, who are approachable, and can crack a laugh here and there, So yeah, man, join us next week for more of that action, and until then, stay safe, stay blessed, and stay loving yourselves and caring for yourselves. Peace.